back, my beautiful disaster. It's time for another exciting video breakdown of Bridgerton Season 3, Episode 3, Forces of Nature. In this episode, we witness a life-changing kiss between Colin and Penelope, which leaves them with mixed feelings and a sense of awkwardness. Meanwhile, Penelope finds herself competing for Lord Debling's attention against Cressida, leading to tension and jealousy. It's a captivating exploration of romantic entanglements, friendship, and the pressures of societal expectations. Alright, before we dive into the episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on any new content. I've been contemplating creating a separate channel dedicated solely to episode breakdowns, as well as one focusing on historical events and true crime. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this idea. Now, let's delve into the thrilling world of episode 3 in season 3 of Bridgerton. Get ready for an unforgettable journey. Colin and Penelope's kiss in Bridgerton season 3, episode 3, Forces of Nature, has set off a chain reaction that neither of them could have predicted. As they navigate their feelings and the consequences of their actions, the question remains, can they really just move on from that one kiss? The answer, as always in romance, is a resounding no, but the real magic lies in the journey they are about to embark on together. The episode opens with a scene straight out of a romance novel, complete with torchlight, blooming flowers, and foggy ambiance. Penelope anxiously waits by the garden door as Colin approaches, resembling a modern-day Mr. Darcy. But he's a mess, consumed by thoughts of their kiss. Penelope, equally affected, admits her feelings, leading to another passionate kiss. However, the tender music and dreamlike atmosphere soon give way to reality as Colin jolts awake in bed, looking bewildered and sweaty. Then, the drawing room below, the rest of the family has gathered. Violet is still in a frenzy over Queen Charlotte's choice of Francesca as the diamond, and she insists on hearing the story again and again. Eloise, on the other hand, is tired of listening to it. Surprisingly, Francesca doesn't seem thrilled about the whole situation, and I can't help but marvel at how oblivious Violet is to her true feelings. Violet reminds everyone that this turn of events means Francesca will have plenty of suitors to choose from, but let's not dwell on that for now. Colin finally joins the group, and with just a casual comment from Benedict about him sleeping in, Colin becomes adamant that he had a peaceful, dreamless sleep. Hyacinth praises Colin for being such a great friend to Penelope and trying to help her. Happy that moment, Colin's expression reveals that he has forgotten the true meaning of the word friend when it comes to Penelope. Meanwhile, at the palace, Queen Charlotte and Lady Danbury are busy searching for a suitable husband for Francesca. It's quite disappointing that they didn't bother consulting Francesca herself. They used little trading cards to evaluate all the eligible bachelors. While it's understandable that Charlotte wants someone wealthy and advantageous for Francesca to defeat Lady Whistledown, I expected more from Lady Danbury, considering her friendship with the Bridgerton family. She must remember how their meddling almost tore Anthony and Kate apart. However, Lady Danbury's heart doesn't seem to be fully invested in this task, as she informs the Queen about an unwanted visitor on the way. In the meantime, Penelope joins Portia, Prudence, and Philippa for tea, just in the nick of time to discover that Philippa may not know what sex is, but she hasn't quite grasped the concept of being with child either. Alma Featherington, I understand that these conversations are uncomfortable in a time where discussing the human body is considered shameful, but this situation is getting out of control. Luckily, Penelope doesn't have to endure this for long as she has a visitor. Eloise awaits Penelope in the front hall, and the two engage in a mysterious conversation about the challenges of facing the public after Lady Whistledown's unkind words. Eloise admits that what Penelope wrote about herself in the column was unnecessarily harsh and assures her that she didn't intend to spread the rumor. However, it seems that Eloise isn't willing to mend their relationship beyond expressing a wish for Penelope to find what she's searching for. Later, Colin and Penelope meet on Rotten Row, and it's safe to say that this is the most awkward conversation they've had. Since the kiss, Penelope suggests that they should probably stop their lessons, and Colin agrees, but he wants to make sure that it's not because of the kiss. Penelope assures him that it isn't, and they both apologize profusely as if they were competing in a contest for the most apologetic Canadian. Taking it a step further, Penelope proposes that they maintain their distance completely, at least until she can salvage her reputation and find a husband. Colin agrees once again, but deep down he can't help but still hold on to the dream of being with her. At the evening soiree, the Tuns' mothers are buzzing about Lord Debling, a highly sought after bachelor this season. Penelope had a pleasant chat with him at the first ball, but despite his eligibility, he's considered a bit of a social oddball. His vegetarian lifestyle raises eyebrows among the high society ladies. Lady Cowper nudges Cressida towards him, urging her to find a husband soon. Despite Cressida's mean girl reputation, I can't help but feel she'd have better luck if she toned down her flashy outfits. The Featheringtons' arrival causes a stir, especially for Penelope, who tries to blend into the background. Benedict and the Bridgertons also make an appearance, with Colin and Eloise catching Penelope hiding away. Eloise hints at a secret conversation with Penelope, piquing Colin's interest. If he doesn't calm down, he'll draw unwanted attention. When Colin learns the truth, he quickly disappears into the crowd. Arriving at the party, Violet and Lady Danbury make their grand entrance, with Francesca caught in the middle. They engage in lively conversation, completely oblivious to Francesca's disinterest. Lady Danbury drops a hint about the Queen introducing Francesca to a high-ranking lord, while Violet assures her daughter that she won't be forced into marriage like Daphne. However, Francesca nonchalantly states that she will likely marry whoever the Queen chooses for her, much to Violet's dismay. Here seems Francesca is taking the easy way out, and Violet is not pleased with her daughter's lack of enthusiasm for the marriage market. Meanwhile, Will and Alice also make their appearance, with Alice looking stunning in a new gown. Lady Cowper takes notice and hopefully learns a lesson about the power of a well-fitted dress over extravagant fabric for the sake of her own daughters. The two of them spot Colin, who is captivated by Penelope from across the room. Alice expresses her approval of their arrangement, finding it considerate rather than scandalous, and Will echoes her sentiment. However, Colin doesn't seem to appreciate their implication that Penelope will easily find a husband. Is someone feeling a bit jealous, Mr. Bridgerton? Penelope finds herself in a hidden spot, accompanied by Lord Debling, and their conversation flows effortlessly. She is taken aback by his willingness to engage with her, and even more surprised that he is oblivious to the reasons why others are avoiding her. And he appears that he doesn't read Whistledown's Colin. As Penelope fills him in on the scandal, he doesn't view it as scandalous at all. Instead, he admires her for taking a risk that no one else would dare to take. He goes on to express how refreshing he finds her honesty. Usually, I'm skeptical when a man says that, but I have to give credit to Lord Debling for genuinely meaning it. Meanwhile, Cressida seems to completely disregard this as an act of pity. The very next day, she excitedly announces to Eloise that she has set her sights on marrying Lord Debling. It's astonishing considering they have only had one awkward conversation and absolutely nothing in common. Cressida confides in Eloise about her lack of support at home and sees marriage as her only chance to find that support. It's unbelievable how this show manages to make me feel sorry for Cressida Cowper, and it's succeeding at it. Portia and Varley decided to give Prudence and Philip a special concoction that was meant to guarantee them sons, but unfortunately, it only ended up making them both sick. It's hard to believe this wasn't just a prank orchestrated by Varley. After recovering, the family went to the park where a grand fair was taking place, complete with a hot air balloon display. Prudence's husband, Harry, couldn't resist making some cheeky remarks about the size of the balloon, much to Prudence's amusement. It's like all the awkwardness Prudence felt before has finally dissipated, along with the discomfort she experienced during intimacy. It makes you wonder why that unnecessary scene from the last episode even existed in the first place. Colin caught up with Penelope, who he excitedly shared that Lord Debling seemed to be showing interest in her. Colin, however, seemed a bit distracted as he watched Penelope wipe sugar off her mouth, leaving little room for his brain to process her words. Meanwhile, outside, Lord Debling was engaged in conversation with Cressida and Eloise. Cressida, eager to discuss the bird that was Lord Debling's passion, found the conversation shifting towards the hot air balloon and his adventures to far-flung places. Lord Debling opened up about his strained relationship with his family, preferring to explore distant lands instead. Cressida could relate to his sentiments, creating a bond between them. Penelope swiftly joins the trio after Debling pulls her into the conversation, and Cressida wastes no time redirecting the discussion towards herself and Debling by mentioning the bird he is studying. Added in that instant, Penelope realizes that Eloise must have assisted Cressida in preparing for this conversation, and Eloise's expression reveals her desire to disappear into the ground. Colin later on claims to his friends that he is done playing the role of a marriage whisperer, but he may have spoken too soon. Penelope's natural charm fades away instantly as she tries to compete with Cressida for Debling's attention, exposing all the awkwardness that lies beneath the surface. Once again, Benedict evades a persistent mother and her daughter and dashes into one of the tents. This particular tent belongs to Lord Hawkins, the brilliant scientist who designed the balloon. Currently, Lord Hawkins is in the midst of delivering a lecture on the subject. Benedict attempts to make a clever remark to his neighbor about the abundance of matchmaking mothers, but to his surprise, he finds himself standing next to a lady who is genuinely interested in the lecture's content rather than trying to discredit it. Impressed by her strong defense of science, Benedict immediately switches on his flirty mode. Meanwhile, outside, Francesca's wish comes true as Queen Charlotte introduces her to Lord Samadani, a Marquis who had specifically come to town to meet her. Violet and Lady Danbury watch as the two interact politely and with friendliness, immediately deeming it as the first spark of true love. However, they fail to notice the absence of a genuine smile on Francesca's face. Eloise finds herself caught between Penelope and Cressida's attempts to engage Lord Debling in conversation. One attempt proves to be more successful than the other. Just as the wind picks up, causing the hot air balloon to sway and tug at its tether, Prudence and Harry seize the opportunity for a passionate moment and accidentally release the balloon. And the men quickly spring into action, with Colin showcasing his heroic side by rolling up his sleeves and taking charge. Although he manages to prevent any harm or escape, Penelope stumbles in her attempt to flee, and Lord Debling instinctively shields her. Colin appears disappointed that Penelope is with Debling, while Cressida's expression turns downright murderous. In a cunning move, she pretends to twist her ankle to divert Debling's attention back to her, and surprisingly, it works in her favor. Finally, Lord Hawkins throws a grand ball that evening to celebrate the accomplishment. Violet observes her 4 grown children entering together, and in her distraction, she accidentally drops a glove, which is then picked up and returned by a dashing stranger named Daniel Francis. Meanwhile, Cressida is irritated by her mother's insistence that she dance with Debling as their financial situation at home worsens due to her father cutting their allowance in half. Lady Coward even hints that Cressida might have to repeat outfits this season, emphasizing the unnecessary expense of the extravagant dresses. Francesca engages in conversation with Lord Samadani, who reveals he has 7 siblings. While Francesca finds the idea of a large family overwhelming and isolating, Lord Samadani expresses his desire for 8 children, a sentiment that shocks Francesca. Violet notices Francesca's absence and goes in search of her, only to encounter the mysterious stranger from earlier. Lady Danbury interrupts their interaction, revealing that the man is actually her brother Marcus, the unwelcome guest she had mentioned before. Violet is taken aback by this revelation, especially since she found Marcus charming, but Lady Danbury's expression hints at disapproval. Francesca, feeling overwhelmed, steps outside to compose herself. Despite the ease of marrying Lord Samadani, she's beginning to realize that marriage won't be all smooth sailing, especially with the pressure to have children. A new man, Victor Ali, joins her, understanding her need for silence. They share a moment of quiet reflection together, leading to Francesca's first genuine smile. Meanwhile, Benedict encounters Lady Tilly Arnold, a widow who is not seeking a husband. Despite their single status, they both feel drawn to dance. At his club, Wood eagerly discusses an upcoming hunt he's been invited to, only to be reminded by a lord that he can't straddle both society and a working class lifestyle. Living off his own earnings is deemed inappropriate, as it's more respectable to rely on the wealth of others. Will and Alice have been reveling in their newfound freedom. They are now faced with a rule they can't circumvent, as Benedict had warned them. Back at the grand ball, Colin finds himself surrounded by a flock of young ladies, all applauding his bravery with the balloon. The admiration fills the air, but amidst the crowd, Penelope stands at a distance, quietly observing. Determined to maintain her distance, she seeks out Debling. Eager to set the record straight about her earlier behavior, Penelope explains that her fondness for the outdoors was not as genuine as she had implied, revealing her true interest instead. According to her surprise, Debling appreciates her honesty and confesses that he desires a partner who embraces their own passions, just as he does. Meanwhile, Cressida catches a glimpse of Debling offering Penelope a drink intended for her, and her genuine upset is evident. In her search for Francesca, Violet stumbles upon Colin and seizes the opportunity to inquire about his intentions for her daughter's future marriage. Colin, curious, asks what it is that Violet desires for Francesca. With a glimmer in her eyes, Violet reveals that she seeks the same thing she wanted for herself and her now married children: passion, excitement, and thrills. Colin, intrigued, questions why friendship is not included in that list. Violet acknowledges its importance, but explains that true friendship is a rarity. As she shares a tender moment with Colin, recounting how she and his father knew their friendship had blossomed into love, emphasizing the courage it took for his father to ask. Although Violet catches Colin stealing glances at Penelope, she plays along with the pretense that he was inquiring for Francesca's sake, not his own. As Colin's gaze meets Penelope's, it becomes evident that he is on the verge of confessing his feelings, until Debling interrupts, claiming Penelope for a dance. As Colin watches them twirl on the dance floor, it becomes abundantly clear that while he may not have mustered the courage to ask Penelope about her feelings, he is acutely aware of his own. Their connection transcends mere friendship. It is something more profound. So tell me what your thoughts are on this episode. Till next time, take care of yourself